What is this kind of mutual recursion called? My issue is with a certain style of code that very much resembles recursion but isn't quite that. Recursion is, to quote Wikipedia, a method of defining functions in which the function being defined is applied within its own definition. Similarly, mutual recursion applies another function which, directly or indirectly, applies the function we are defining. The problem is that the code I am thinking of and dealing with does not use the same function. It uses the same code in another function as a method or closure. The problem here is that while my code is the same, the functions are not. Take a look at the following basic mutual recursion example. This is somewhat intuitive and very clearly mutually recursive. However, if I wrap each function up as an inner function that is created once every call, it gets less clear. Disregarding optimizations like implicit memoization etc., this produces a chain of function calls that isn't strictly recursive, creating and calling various new functions without ever calling the same one twice. Nonetheless, all these functions follow a common template and are just the same function created over and over again, possibly with different free variables. And again, we can come up with a directly equivalent. After all, classes are really just closures, right? Winking smiley implementation using classes. This is especially significant since this style of insert name here is used in, example, the composite pattern. The difference is that with the composite design pattern, and most uses, even of the closures, the instances are not usually created on the fly. It is still essentially the same. This time the chain is of object creation and method calls, but the principle is the same. I would actually note that it's slightly different in that Python defines a simple wrapper on a per object basis which itself calls the very same function every time, but this is not necessarily something we need to know, and it doesn't need to be true for other implementations of classes and objects. But yes, strictly speaking, it is mutually recursive, as well as something more, and it's that other thing that I want to know.
As you point out, this is still mutual recursion. I don't think the something more you're asking about has a name. If it does, I've never heard it.
Mutual recursion is just a special case of indirect recursion.
Apparently, it is called mutual recursion, smiley face. The article even gives the same example as you, with odd question mark and even question mark functions.